Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. I'd like to welcome you, dear viewers, to our series, Understanding the Qur'an. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah's peace and blessings be on each and every one of you. We continue to look at the first verses of Surah Al-Hadeed, the 57th chapter of the Qur'an, the chapter on iron. In the first three verses, Allah described Himself as being almighty and wise, owning the heavens and the earth, giving life and death, and being able to do all things. Furthermore, He is the first and the last, the highest and the most near, and He knows everything. In the fourth verse, Allah goes on to describe further Himself with the relationship to His creation, saying,
هو الذي خلق السماوات والأرض في 6 أيام ثم استوى على العرش يعلم ما يلج في الأرض وما يخرج منها وما ينزل من السماء وما يعرج فيها وهو معكم أينما كنتم والله بما تعملون بصير.
It is He who created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and then rose over the throne. He knows what enters the earth and what leaves it, what descends from the heaven and what ascends to it. And He is with you wherever you may be, and Allah sees whatever you do. It is He who created the heavens and the earth in 6 days. Allah created the heavens and the earth. That it belongs to Him. He is the first, nothing before Him. Therefore, the creation of the heavens and the earth must be His. He is the one who created it. And He did so in 6 days. Now, the fact that He did it in 6 days doesn't mean He rested on the seventh, which is what is promoted in Christianity and Judaism, according to the text, the distorted text of the Bible, where it claims that God created the world in 6 days, and out of being tired, He took a rest on the seventh. This has been denied in the Qur'an itself, where Allah describes Himself as not being overcome by sleepiness or tiredness or by sleep at all. وَلَا تَأْخُذُهُ سِنَةٌ وَلَا نَوْمٌ. Tiredness nor sleep overtakes Him. So He cancels these attributes. These are the attributes of weakness of His creation. They get tired and they need a day for rest. So the day of rest, Sabbath, was not a day of rest for God. God did not rest on the seventh. Human beings need a rest from a week of work. So that day was prescribed for them. And when we talk about 6 days, again, we don't get caught up into what these days were. Were they 24-hour days? Or were they days, as Allah says in the Quran elsewhere, that the angels rise up to Allah in a day that is like 1,000 years from what you count. What kind of day is this? 1,000 years. Another place it says 50,000 years. Talks about the day being like 50,000 years from our counting, reckoning. And the scholars have gone into different explanations as to which days it was referring to, whether it's the day of judgment, or whatever. The point is that when Allah mentions 6 days, it doesn't necessarily mean 24 hours. So we don't get caught up in the implications of that, where science shows that the earth was created over billions of years and all these kind of things. So we said, well, how could it possibly be in 6 days? Well, we don't get into that because for us, 6 days doesn't literally mean 6 24-hour days, but 6 days according to the count of God. Now, what we also realize from this is that those who have taken the Bible to be literally the Word of God, where from the creation till our time, the generations have been identified. So from it, they conclude that the earth is only 4,000 years old. But Muslims, we're not caught up in that. Though we reject the concepts of evolution, we don't go to the other extreme of, putting numbers on the age of the earth, which are ludicrous. So when we say that Allah created the heavens and earth in 6 days, 6 periods of time, He called them days. But that they were the days of our reckoning, no, they weren't. But in any case, even if He created them in 6 days, what does that mean? Is He not able to do that? In any case, so it's not really an issue. Why 6? A person again asks. We say Allah is all wise. He knows best why it was 6 and not 7 days or 5 days. He created the world in 6 days. And He informed us that that's what He did. Now, the verse goes on to say, and then rose over the throne. Now, this presents something of a problem for those who, in their desire to remove from God any descriptions which would make Him like His creation, deny that Allah rose above His throne. They deny that He is on high. We spoke about that earlier. I want to say He's in every place, He's everywhere. But the reality is that to say that Allah is above His throne is not putting Him in a place, because all place, all location only came into existence with the creation of the world. Prior to that, there was no place. So Allah is where He was prior to the creation, no change. But He's not inside of the world, because to do that, to say He's everywhere, actually is in fact to say He is bound by place. I mean, may not be bound in the sense that He's in one place and not in another. You've put Him in all places, still places from creation. And the fact that He is above His throne, this further emphasizes to us that He is beyond His creation. Because if one goes out of this world to the first heaven, and we go to the second heaven and work our way up, then we come to the seventh heaven, beyond which there are no more heavens, beyond which there is the kursi, and then the throne, and then Allah is above that. So this is further confirming the fact that Allah is above and beyond His creation. And the throne represents the last object of creation. Out beyond the throne, there is no created thing. And the created things are in places. The throne is on high in a place. And the Prophet ﷺ had said that the whole world, all of this universe, with regards to the kursi, which is the footstool of God, is like brass ring thrown in the middle of a expansive desert. Then he went on to say that the kursi, that footstool in relationship to the throne of God, again like the brass ring thrown in the middle of the expansive desert. So really, our world, as a speck in the universe, becomes an even smaller speck in relationship to the creations of Allah, like the throne and the footstool. And even those are nothing in relationship to Allah. So, saying that He rose above His throne, this is confirming His not being within His creation, not being in a location. And those who would want to say His throne represents His power, His authority, a variety of other things people want to say. He doesn't really have a throne. Well, if you're saying it represents His power or His authority, then when Allah says, for example, in the Qur'an, that on the Day of Judgment, His throne will be borne by 8 angels. 8 angels will bear His throne. So, if His throne is His dominion, His power, His control, His sovereignty, etc., then you're saying that angels will carry Allah's power and His sovereignty and His control over things? No, this is nonsense. So Allah said he rose above his throne. We recognize that he has a throne, not like any throne in this world, that it encompasses the whole world, everything in it, and he rose above it. Then Allah goes on to say, he knows what enters the earth and what leaves it. And elsewhere in the Qur'an, we can find Allah saying in the 6th chapter, verse 59, and with him are the keys of all that is hidden. None knows them but he. And he knows whatever there is in the land and in the sea. Not a leaf falls, but he knows it. There is not grain in the darkness of the earth, or anything fresh or dry, but it is written in a clear record. So the idea of what goes in the earth refers to the planting where people put the seed in the ground and it's hidden, nobody knows about it. Allah knows about it. He also knows everything that pops up from the soil. When rain comes, the shoots come up, and he knows each and every shoot, each and every blade of grass which comes out of the earth. Allah is aware of it. Every tree, leaf which falls, he is aware of it all. Allah is where he was prior to the creation. No change. But he's not inside of the world. Because to do that, to say he's everywhere, actually is in fact to say he is bound by place. I mean, may not be bound in the sense that he's in one place and not another, but you've put him in all places, still places from creation. And the fact that he is above his throne, this further emphasizes to us that he is beyond his creation. Because if one goes out of this world to the first heaven, and we go to the second heaven and work our way up, then we come to the seventh heaven, beyond which there are no more heavens, beyond which there is the kursi, and then the throne, and then Allah is above that. So this is further confirming the fact that Allah is above and beyond his creation. And the throne represents the last object of creation. Beyond the throne, there is no created thing. And the created things are in places. The throne is on high in a place. And the Prophet ﷺ had said that the whole world, this universe, with regards to the kursi, which is the footstool of God, is like a brass ring thrown in the middle of a expansive desert. Then he went on to say that the kursi, that footstool, in relationship to the throne of God, is again like the brass ring thrown in the middle of the expansive desert. So really, our world, as a speck in the universe, becomes an even smaller speck in relationship to the creations of Allah, like the throne and the footstool. And even those are nothing in relationship to Allah. So, saying that he rose above his throne, this is confirming his not being within his creation, not being in a location. And those who would want to say his throne represents his power, his authority, a variety of other things people want to say. He doesn't really have a throne. Well, if you're saying it represents his power or his authority, then when Allah says, for example, in the Qur'an, that on the Day of Judgment, his throne will be borne by 8 angels. 8 angels will bear his throne. So, if his throne is his dominion, his power, his control, his sovereignty, etc., then saying that angels will carry Allah's power and his sovereignty and his control over things, no, this is nonsense. So, Allah said he rose above his throne. Recognize that he has a throne, not like anything throne in this world, that it encompasses the whole world, everything in it, and he rose above it. Then Allah goes on to say, he knows what enters the earth and what leaves it. And elsewhere in the Qur'an, we can find Allah saying in the 6th chapter, verse 59, with him are the keys of all that is hidden. None knows them but he. And he knows whatever there is in the land and in the sea. Not a leaf falls, but he knows it. There is not grain in the darkness of the earth, or anything fresh or dry, but it is written in a clear record. So the idea of what goes in the earth refers to the planting where people put the seed in the ground and it's hidden, nobody knows about it. Allah knows about it. He also knows everything that props up from the soil. When rain comes, the shoots come up, and he knows each and every shoot, each and every blade of grass which comes out of the earth. Allah is aware of it. Every tree, leaf which falls, he is aware of it all. This is an expression of his complete knowledge. Nothing escapes him. And we can find other references, the idea that whatever goes in the earth, Allah knows, throughout the Qur'an. You can find other references, stressing this same point. What is hidden in the soil, Allah alone knows. What is hidden in the wombs, Allah alone knows. There's so many places where the Qur'an addresses the issue of the completeness of Allah's knowledge. Now, of course, when human beings looking at this type of statement say, well, we're able with special cameras, etc., to see what is in the womb and see the child. Is he a male or a female at certain stages? But can we predict whether he's going to come out living or come out dead? Whether he will die in the womb? We don't have this knowledge. So our knowledge, what little knowledge we're able to gain about what is in the womb, this doesn't put us now in a level where we can look and say, oh, we know all that is in the womb. No. Allah knows all. He knows what enters the earth and what leaves it. Included in this idea is also those that are buried and put in the earth. Those will be resurrected. And what descends from the heaven and what ascends to it. What descends from the heaven refers to the various natural phenomena, whether it be rain, snow, hail, etc. Or it refers to the angels, honorable angels that come down with Allah's command, as well as what goes up to it, being the deeds, righteous deeds, etc. Allah speaks about it going up to him, angels going up to him. And in another chapter of the Qur'an, we find Allah also referring to deeds going up. And we find in Hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, which he said, to him ascends the deeds of the night before the day falls, and the deeds of the day before the night falls. It's one of the statements found in Sahih Muslim. Furthermore, we find Allah speaking about the angels which come up to him carrying our deeds, the record of our deeds. The fact is that he is overseeing everything. He witnesses everything that we do. His sight encompasses all things. It's an expression of his complete knowledge. Whatever descends from the heaven, whether it's the angels, whether it's rain, whatever, and goes up to him, he knows it. And he's with you wherever you may be. Now, when Allah uses this term of being with us, this is not with us again in the physical sense. You know, there are other verses in the Qur'an where Allah says that whatever, you know, whether we are two, he is the third, three is the fourth, etc. And he is referring to the fact that when we sit together to converse or to plot and to plan, etc., he is there, he knows. His knowledge is there, nothing escapes him. So we cannot hide anything from him. He oversees all, he knows all. So Allah stresses that, you know, talking about him being wherever we may be. We can also find in it when Allah says, the ending of that same verse, and Allah sees whatever you do. So when he says that he's with you wherever you may be and sees whatever you do, he's clarifying the issue of knowledge here. That he's not expressing that he is literally with us in this world, on earth, you know, as the third. When we are two, he is the third. But that his knowledge encompasses all things. Well, with that, dear viewers, we'd like to thank you for being with us in this segment of our program, Understanding the Qur'an. We hope that you continue to follow the program throughout the year as we continue to reflect on the meanings of the glorious Qur'an. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.